Many people think that by putting a deadline on a permitting decision, it's just a way to force a regulator to say yes. But in many ways, it's actually the opposite. A deadline is the one thing that shows that a delay wasn't caused by government. By the end of this video, you'll see why creating deadlines and recording every pause on the clock protects regulators and gives proponents a timeline that they can actually finance. Here's the fear of many regulators and environmentalists: that adding timelines to permit applications will force government to make rushed and hasty decisions. They might sign off before the review is done, they might skip consultation, they might push the risk down the road and hope that it doesn't get litigated. But this is what bad timelines do. But a real deadline doesn't mean that the government has to say yes. It means that government has to say something. Yes, no, yes with conditions. Hey, we're pausing the clock and this is why. And that why could be First Nations consultation because it's not going anywhere. It's constitutional. But a recorded pause in a public deadline for consultation sets a record of the pause and the reasons why. So, how might this work? Because every permitting system is different and a deadline isn't going to work for every permit. But if we wanted to get started, this is where we should try. Government should add a target deadline for each of its resource-based permits based off of the expertise of the adjudicating officers and following engagement with First Nations. And then, and this is the really crucial part, create public dashboards for the statuses of each of these applications against their deadlines. Finally, record and time every deviation from this clock. Not just the final decision date, every pause. Why it happened, who asked for it, and what has to happen before the clock restarts. A First Nations needs more time to review technical information? Log it. Another ministry needs more time to provide comments? Log it. A applicant provided incomplete information? Log that too. Here's why that change does so much. Because from the outside, every delay looks like it has the same cause. The regulator is slow, whether that story is true or whether it's not. Whereas a timed clock breaks that story apart. It shows when a file is sitting with another agency. It shows when the clock had to stop because an applicant provided incomplete information. And importantly, it shows when timelines need to slow down because more time is needed for consultation. It enables government to collect information on where applications are consistently slowing down, and so it can better resource these pain points in the future. It does two jobs at once. First, it protects good regulators from wearing blame that frankly they don't deserve. And second, it gives proponents a timeline that they can take to their board and finance against. This is the same mechanism, but creates better opportunities and a better place to invest. Now, some of you might be thinking, hasn't the Major Projects Office that was recently established taken steps in this direction? Well, although the Major Projects Office is a step in the right direction, it only applies to a select few major projects and it only covers federal permits. So the dozens of other provincial permits that you need, like land tenures, water licenses, sector-specific licenses, these aren't covered. There's no timed clock for most of these, and that remains a major gap that we need to address. So to close, the point of a deadline is not to force an approval. It is to force accountability and to create transparency for the proponent, for First Nations, and for the regulator. Because the day that we can actually see where all of our time is going in relation to permits is the day that we can properly resource any pain points. If this video on permitting touches home on any of the work that you're doing on permitting, I'd like to know what you're seeing on the ground. Feel free to reach out directly or leave a comment below. To everybody else, thank you for watching.